Good morning, my friends. January the 23rd. What time is it? It's early. 2:41 a.m. here at Siegel South. Haven't done this in a while. Thought I'd better get on. I was on YouTube last night, night before. Must have been night before. My days get kind of backed up. But anyway, I saw my buddy Ike, and he's doing a call-in radio thing. And looks like a good idea. And I think he's got a big audience, primarily truckers. I used to be, my younger days, I was a truck driver. Always have said, best job I ever had. Enjoyed it. Open road, nobody messing with me. Boy, that's been a long time ago. It's been, my goodness, 20, 50 years ago. About 50 years ago now. Unbelievable. Yeah, right about now. 50 years. I did it for about 2.5, 3 years off and on. And it was enjoyable. I know that I've watched Ike's dissertations on here. And general thing that I've assumed is that it's what he likes to do best. I know he's done other things, but that's where he feels the best, and I'm glad for him. And I'll tell you, I thought about his open call-in radio show. I don't know if that'd be so good for me. I'm opinionated. I get on here and I run my mouth about political things and social situations and whatnot. But I don't take criticism very well. Just, I don't know. And I think that Ike might run into the situation where at some point somebody will call in and they won't be agreeing with everything he has to say. And I'd be kind of interested to see how he handles that. Now, most talk-in shows, in fact, all of them that I'm aware of that are out there on big time radio, they have filters, so to speak. What's the word? They have people that answer the phone, and you let them know the subject and topic that you want to cover with the talking person out there. And if you don't fit the bill, if you're going to be contradictory to whatever the host is carrying on, they don't put you through. You're just, you just don't get on. So I don't think Ike has any filtering system like that. If you call him, you're going to get him, providing the line isn't busy. I think he's only got one line. So if you call him, you don't get a busy signal, and you want to contradict something that he's going to talk about, then you're going to get straight through to him. And I'd be interested to see how that handles now. That's probably not going to happen too much because Ike is talking to a fairly closed audience. Most of the people that watch and listen to Ike's stuff agree with Ike's stuff. I assume it's the same with me. When I get on one of my political tirades, the people that don't agree with me, which there's lots of them, they just go click, turn it off. And that's as it should be. That's their prerogative. Anyway, lots of luck, Ike. I hope it works out well for you. Maybe you'll be the next Rush Limbaugh, making tubloads of money, millionaire, and I can say, I knew Ike when. Bless his heart. It's a good idea, though. Anyhow, I did want to allude to the situation up there at Siegel North. You folks that watch, you hear me talk about Siegel North and Siegel South. Now, most of the people that watch my tapes, they're probably aware of what I'm talking about, but I'll cover it for those that might be wondering, what in the blazes is he yapping about? Well, Siegel South, I live in Texas. That's our primary residence. Little crossroads out here in the prairie. And it's just what I do here on the tapes. For the people that know me, I call it Siegel South. And I won't say where it's at, but it's in Texas. And it's not a secret. Most of the people that know me know where it's at. One of the things I've observed is that some of the folks that get on here, on Facebook, and they talk about where they're at and what they're doing and whatnot. Sometimes they get broke into when they let the world know that they're not going to be where they're at. All of a sudden they come back and all their treasured possessions are gone. This happened to a friend of ours who lives down in East Texas. She was on Facebook. Went someplace, told the world, hey, me and the old man, I think the old man's dead. Maybe she's got a new one, I don't know. But gist of it is that she announced on Facebook what she was doing. And while she was doing it, they went in and cleaned her house out. So I wouldn't like that to happen. So I'll just say Siegel South is in Texas. Now Siegel North is in New York. It's where I grew up. It's wintertime up there right now, and they are having a winter. I'll say Siegel North is in Randolph, New York. Now, Randolph, Little Valley, Salamanca, Ellicottville, points around there. That's where I grew up. I actually grew up in Little Valley. My daddy was the county sheriff, and it was a good place to grow up. But the place where we go during the summer months is Randolph, because that's where our RV unit is at, and that's where the RV place that we're at. That's where it's at. And we spend about 4 months a year there, and we spend 8 months a year here. 4 months a year Siegel North, 8 months a year Siegel South. And it's great because, of course, during the summer months when it's so bloody hot down there in Texas, we're up there in New York and it's nice. 80, 85 is a hot day up there. Usually it's in the 70s. It's just beautiful. So that's where we go. But one of the things I was wanting to allude to was that growing up there, Siegel North is I wouldn't call it mountainous, although the rises are bigger than the hills. So I'll call it mountains. I think the levitation from the valleys to the top of the hills is sometimes 2,000-3,000 feet. Most of the time it's 1,500, 2,000 feet, but it makes for a pretty considerable, rise there in your backyard. And it's all treed and timbered with, used to be elm, maple, or sugar maples, ash trees, aspens. It's all heavily timbered. It's just woods. If the farmers haven't gone in and cleared out a spot and made a field, then it's just woods. Allergies are bothering me. I have something in my eye. So anyway, within the last 2-3 years up there, maybe the last 5 years, they have had an invasion of ash beetles. If I got that wrong, you guys at Siegel North, you let me know, because, but anyway, the ash beetles have been coming in and killing billions of ash trees. I think that figure is not an exaggeration. I read that in one of the papers up there, that they expected if everything ran its course, they'd be out of ash trees. And sometime I noticed that in the last year or two, we'd go up there, and during the summer months, you'd look up on the mountainside, and there'd be big patches of brown. But what that was dead ash trees. The beetles had killed them all. Well, as any of you folks that follow the weather knows, they've been having a winter up there. I mean, But I think yesterday or this morning I looked at the weather and it was flat out zero up there with a chill factor of about 14 to 20 below zero. And I would wish this on a dog. I mean, this is one of those winters where, like when I was a youngster, I remember in the 1950s one time, it was 52 below zero. That wasn't chill factor, that was how cold it was. That was once. But I do remember that my dad had a thermometer. You'd go in the dining room. There was a two-headed thing up there, and one of them was the interior temperature, and the other was the exterior temperature. And it had this little lead that went outdoors. It had a sensor or some kind of a thing. This is in the 50s, so I don't know. But anyway, that other one would feed the outside temperature in. You go in there and look at that in the winter at night, 25, 30 below zero. I mean, it got cold. Well, with this global warming, the last 15, 20 years, they haven't had those just really cold nights. But this year, I understand it has really gotten cold. I mean, just like old times. And I guess there's an upside to everything, because I read, or my wife, Tiana, told me that the information that's coming down from up at Siegel North is that if they had one more cold snap, which they're going to have this coming week, that they expected the ash beetle population to be zip. It's going to kill them off. And whatever ash trees they still have left might make it, because evidently those little ash beetles they don't tolerate 15, 20 below zero worth of darn. It kills them, kills their larvae, kills everything. So good, that's good. There's an upside to all this cold temperature you're getting up there. They say the ash beetles are going to be gone verboten, which is nice. So I'm glad. Let's see. How to get politicking. I saw on the news they're having a big, humongous roundtable discussion somewhere about the Syrian situation, the civil war in Syria. And evidently they had, I think it was the foreign minister of Syria. They gave him a chance to speak and they couldn't shut him up. And his premise was that his country was being torn asunder by outsiders. Now, I'm an American, and I don't know if I have the proper insight to really make a judgment on this or not. But I think the guy's right. Now, it is what we call an authoritarian administration over there. The guy that's been in since Lord knows when. But one of the things that happened, my man Obama is just catching it all the time from the righties. They say he's not rigid enough and he apologizes for the United States too much. Yada, yada, yada. He's a communist and, Marxist and whatnot. And I don't know whether any of that's true or not. I know he's a constitutional authority. He taught, I think he taught constitutional studies, I believe, at Columbia. So we ought to have some idea of what our Constitution's about and geopolitical things around the world. I think he's smart about that. And one of the things I know he wouldn't have done, which George Bush did, was attack Iraq for no really good reason. And the result of his attacking Iraq, I think, is that he destabilized the whole Middle East. Saddam Hussein, I'm trying to think, there's the two of them. There's the one that blew up the towers, and then Saddam Hussein, I believe, was the dictator of Iraq. He was an authoritarian, treated these people bad and all whatnot. But when he was in power in Iraq, we didn't have nearly as much hooliganism going on. So George goes in, has a war off budget. So they bitch about Obama running up the national debt. And I know that the righties say he did it, and us lefties say, well, the reason the national debt is as big as it is because George had that war off budget. I'm of that opinion too. I think the biggest problem we have, all those trillions of dollars of debt that we're incurring right now, is primarily because George, he cut taxes and went to war. And I believe that just as sure as going to get out. Anyway, one of the things by going to war that he did was he destabilized the whole Middle East. The Islamic radicals, boy, isn't that? Radicals have become more powerful, much more powerful, since he went in and took Saddam out. I mean, he used to kill him. Saddam, feeling like, hey, he took him over to, what was that prison that we took over? Anyway, he'd electrocute him, do all kind of brutal things to him. But by golly, we didn't have any problems with them. The Russians are suffering it right now. The ones coming out of Chechnya and Kazakhstan and all these other Islamic republics. I mean, they got the Russians scared to death. They're going to blow up the Olympics. Anyway, where was I? I'm rambling. George destabilized that country, and part of the destabilization that he created is this civil war we got going on in Syria right now. If there was a strong Iraq, what there used to be, there wouldn't be such a strong Iran. I mean, they've just come in and filled in a void. I blame it all on George. It's his fault. You know, one of the things that kind of gets lost in all these conversations is, we always say George went in for the oil. And he did. Went into Iraq. Hey, the oil. When we go in and we take the country over, then oil revenues go pay for the war. Well, he didn't. But one of the real reasons that George went in and attacked him was because old Saddam had put out a hit order on George Sr. A lot of people forget that. And I can't blame him. I'd have been mad too, George Jr. If they'd tried to kill my daddy, I'd have been chapped. But we had the power to go in and just kill him and leave the administration intact over there and not create this void that we did. We could have fixed him and not created all the messes we have now. Anywho, back to the Syrian guy. He got up and they couldn't shut him up. They gave him 20 minutes to talk, and he just kept on going. He was so mad because he said that the outsiders are tearing his country apart, and I have to agree with him. I mean, I might not be nuts about his administration, who he represents and whatnot, but the brutal truth is that the outsiders are what's causing the problems in that country, and I have no insight as to how to solve it. I think it's a shame, and it's going to happen throughout the Middle East. This Arab Spring that they're talking about that's been going on is predominantly the Islamic radicals. Where am I getting it? Radicals are coming in and trying to take over all those countries and make one big Islamic republic out of the whole place with the share law, the whole thing. I think before it's over with, if we're unlucky, Iran, Iraq, Syria, uh, Egypt, even the Saudis, will all be one big confederation. And I'm afraid and all under Sharia law and all wanting our hides, and that will not be good. Anywho, I wish I was a smart man and had a solution to the whole thing. I don't know that I do. I just got a lot of opinions. Been going out and getting cars fixed. We drive. I have a Kia Spectra, which I really like. I gotta be honest with you. I've always thought of Kias as cheap cars. I've changed my mind. They are now inexpensive cars. I've had mine for a year and a half. Bought it with about 60,000 miles on it. It's got 95,000 miles on it. I've had it a year and a half, and I have had no problems at all. Nothing. Gas, oil, and away we go. Tires. I will probably buy another one in October this coming year or later. My wife's fighting me hammer and tongs. She didn't want to do it, but we have also a Chrysler Town and Country, which with 100 and almost 170,000 miles on it. It's a good car. It's been a fantastic car. We've put a radiator in it. We've had a little air conditioning done, work done. But other than that, the car has just been fabulous. And but it's 170,000. By this coming October, it'll be 200,000. And points north as far as mileage is concerned. So we're going to need to go out and get another car. Not necessarily to replace the van. I want to keep the van. The van it's like an enclosed pickup truck. It's very nice. As long as it's serviceable, I want to keep it. But we need another vehicle with lower mileage, so it's not breaking every month or so, because that's what happens. 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles. After a while, if you sit down and look at what you're doing, you're paying more in repairs than you would in car payments. So I'm going to stay on this vendetta. Sometime about a year from now, we're going to have another vehicle with low mileage, and it's probably going to have a knock down, drag out here in the house, but it's the way it's going to be anyway. I'm going to buy another Kia or Chrysler 300, four-cylinder Chrysler 300 with an 8-speed. That might get done. It's about the only two that I can think of. Anywho, I'm going to buy another car down the road. Probably product long enough. Where has my list gone? By the way, Brian, I heard you blow the horn tonight when you went by. I got on the radio, you didn't answer me. Still hearing bad scuttlebutt about you guy. I am hearing that they want to take you direct up there. I think that's neat. Hope you get rich. Crystal, top of the day to you. My sons Kyle and Carl. Kyle spent the weekend with me. It was great. Every weekend, Kyle and I essentially have been apart. Of course, me and Carl too. But Kyle has lived in Kansas, and prior to that, he was just a young adult out doing his thing. So Kyle and I really haven't had much interplay. Probably going on 20 years. But now, He's living in the area. He's coming by once a month, or once every couple of weeks, spending a couple of days. It's great. It's great. He and I are developing a father-son relationship again. I love it. I can't express. I wish there was a way I could do that with a 11th son, Carl, but there are other issues there that just preclude it. But anyway, Kyle, love you. Thank you for coming by. Tracy, I know you watch my stuff here, and you comment. So thank you, sir. Mr. Heizenreiter, you lost. Beat you. I mean, don't rub it in, but it happens. Ike, congratulations on your new endeavor. I hope it goes as well for you as the other thing, although I suspect you'll do, your trucker rag shoes, just like all I noticed you had a big gap in there, which I have too from time to time, but just don't have much to say. Anyway, I hope it works out for you. I gotta take Glenn off my list. Glenn has gone off to that big chemistry lab in the sky. That's a good friend of mine. He was a doctor of organic chemistry. And called him here a while ago on the phone, couldn't get him. Called his ex-wife, and I found out that I won't ever get him again, so that happens. Whew. Daryl Mackey. If you haven't talked to David, although I think you have, he's trying. Boy, he's up there at Roswell Park just fighting it. I talked to him a time or two on the phone, but I've been told not to. They've got his throat swelled up and his tongue swelled up, and I mean, Jay David's having a hard time. I hope he pulls it. I do. His hair's falling out. I ain't no big thing. Look at that. My hair's falling out, but different reasons. Mine's coming out actually because of dialysis. I don't understand that, but I mean, I used to have thick black hair. Now I have thin gray hair. It's still kind of black, but Tyler, wonder if you're out there. I think you're down in Waco. Carl up in Bradford saved me a seat. I think he'll be there in about, let's see, this February, March, April, May. About 4 months, about 100 days. Jim Kersey, hope things are good in California. I look forward to seeing you this summer. I will buy you a steak. I don't know where. Maybe we'll go to, what is that place? Oh, Fiddles down in Salamanca, the hotel there. Myers's. I think that would be a neat thing. Go down to Myers's hotel and really have some classy dinner. Myers's classy. I've been there in a couple of years, but I always liked Myers's. Anyway, I have prattled on. You folks that watch my stuff, thank you. I even got me a little political today. Let's see what else going on. Tomorrow I gotta get a haircut, get this thing here trimmed. Gotta take Mama's car and spend more money on it. She's hell-bent determined she's gonna get that thing back on its feet. Not that it's in that bad shape, drives good and everything. It needs new shocks. It's got an engine light that's on. That's a sensor. So we're gonna get it taken care of tomorrow. And then I guess I'll do this in about a week. For those of you out there that watch my stuff, thank you very much for my time.